Right, it's a beautiful Monday morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. I am Veronica Dan Ikboy, and joining me in the studio this morning is Ibrahim Shita. Ibrahim, good morning.
Good morning to you, Veronica.
People like us have been enjoying showers of blessings, talking about the rain.
Okay.
I don't know where you guys are, but whatever you guys have done.
All right, it's just do not what's it called? Do not gloat, in the blessings of the Lord, and rub it on other people's faces who are still waiting unto the Lord.
Okay, it's
But
turn
I'll
by
tell
turn,
you,
right?
because
Let's just leave it at
few days ago you were also worried about raining, light showers several places, and then there was none in your area. Now you have. You're now. Don't worry, we'll get ours. We'll get ours very soon.
Anyway, we have an array of issues we'll be looking at this morning, talking about ending HIV and AIDS. And then we're also going to look at the debate around electricity subsidy, as well as the state of the nation, the economic situation in the country, and how the current administration is trying to address that. But let's begin with this story that as many Nigerians continue to lament the current economic hardship and growing concerns over insecurity, the Nigeria Labour Congress says it will embark on a 2-day nationwide mass protest to register its displeasure over these developments. The Labour movement has accused government of neglecting the welfare of Nigerians and workers, and says the warning protest scheduled to hold on February 27th and 28th is only the first step before it will deploy any other necessary action to push for their demands. As it is, Labour is already planning and putting machinery in place to follow through on its warning. And Labour, in its right, of course, it can go ahead with the protest, but then is giving the government, the current administration, ample time to look at what can be done to quickly address the situation of things. Emphasis on quickly. Because recently I was passing through my 12 and could see the faces of some Nigerians around that axis. And it wasn't nice at all. You could see people have some level of wondering where is the next meal going to come around, and how they will manage the situation around them. Of course, give it to the government, trying to put measures in place, having conversations with various stakeholders and even state governments to see what can be done, but how quickly, again, emphasis on quickly, can these issues be resolved such that the ordinary man on the streets feels the impact of whatever decision the government is making?
Well, there are so many people who are taking different positions on the decision to be taken by the NLC and TVC, the Nigerian Labour Union generally, which is threatening to go on strike 27th on 28th this month, following the 16-point agreement reached by non-implementation of 16-point agreement reached between them and the federal government on October the 2nd, 2023. But all of this, there are so many questions to be asked, just like you also raised. It is their right to go to go on protest, but the question is the protest what we need now? The harrowing impact protest will always have on several Nigerians. Fine. There are some farmers who are also not able to go to their farmlands due to, we have vast arable farmlands, but then people are not able to go there to cultivate due to the insecurity happening on their farmlands, the farmer header crisis and all of that. There are so many other questions to also be asked. The Labour Congress, what are they asking each governor of the states, all of the states in Nigeria,
where they have their chapters?
You understand? Why are they not talking to them? Why are they not taking them up on several issues? Because now they receive more allocations than they were used to receiving. The removal of fuel subsidy, they're having more money. How much have they spent? We see what Governor of Borno State is doing. We see what others are saying. But the thing is, another person also asked a question saying that this is probably, the timing is also suspicious, because if you are calling for protest, is it those who are yet to eat that will be going out to protest? I mean, we know that protest usually leads to some form of crisis. Some people take advantage of this protest to break into people's shops and steal their stuff. Saying the person is of the opinion that the Labour president is probably being political, the timing and all of that. This is
What
after
is the issue?
Yeah, this is after the president met with the 31 state governors, and then they had a conversation. They had a plan to establishing state police and to also go back to their various states to bring up different ideas in ensuring that they stem the tide of this of insecurity and also lack of food. So why is it not allowing them to go ahead with this if whatever it is that he's talking about is not political? Those are different.
So Labour is saying that the 27th and the 28th is just a warning strike. To see what steps government would take to addressing that. Perhaps Labour, now I'm not a spokesperson for Labour. What I am thinking is perhaps Labour is saying, okay, I might have seen that you had a conversation with the state governors, but we are, taking this protest to ensure you understand that we are not sitting or resting on our oars until we see that whatever agreements you have reached with the state governments get to the last person, talking about people, the ordinary citizens who are finding it challenging to have perhaps 3 or even 1 square meal on their table as it is. So it's just perhaps to put government, the various state governments, on its toes that, see, we are watching. We are watching. So it's not going all out to say, okay, we are asking everybody to down tools, but that perhaps we are watching you to let you know that we are monitoring whatever it is that you have agreed with the federal government. If we do not see any change, because that's the actual thing they're asking for, we want to see change. There's so much hardship, according to them. There's so many things going on that they are not happy with. Government not meeting up with some of its demands. And so if we are watching whatever is done within these 2 days and we do not see any change, then we'll go ahead with the 2 weeks nationwide strike or the strike that we have called on earlier on to say that, see, we are pressing home our demands. So various state governments should ensure whatever agreements they have reached with the federal government, that they ensure that it is implemented as quickly as possible and that the ordinary citizens of the various states feel the impact of the dividends of democracy while they were, voted into power. These agreements they have reached is to better the lives of these people. So if they can do that, I am sure that NLC is reasonable enough. I am believing they are reasonable enough to begin to see if they are seeing the changes that they would not ensure that they go ahead with that strike.
There are so many agreements they all reach, regarding the bringing up the CNG buses. Some of the policies
those are questions that a lot of Nigerians have been asking. What's the situation with the CNG buses? Yes, sometime last week we had that conversation, and then the following day we had a story where some persons are saying that the structure is not yet in place as much as they want. But then we'll talk more on all of these issues later on as